Hey class, how's it going? Hope you guys are doing good so far. Looks like most of you are keeping up to date. I want to touch base on a new assignment I just posted. It's a discussion to help you develop your bibliography topic. This is generally the most difficult issue of people have that I've seen in the past of really with their bibliography. What topic do I do and what question do I ask? So you start off with what are you interested in? So I made some comments on some of your introductions. Hey, I'm interested in baseball, or I like mountain biking, this or that, strength and conditioning, you know, bodybuilding, whatever you're interested in. Start there with your love. What are you passionate about? I mean, that's really this. We're getting into your junior, senior year of college. You should be studying things a little bit more that you like, that you enjoy. So you've got free reign to do something in the sport nutrition world of what you'd like. So in my life, I've done a lot of endurance sports, specifically cycling and triathlon. So everything was kind of hydration, fueling, carbohydrate drinks, recovery, because there's a lot of training volume. So there's a lot of stuff I did on my own, to try to figure that thing out. So again, you want to ask a specific question. So I gave you chapter 6 of the evidence-based practice and exercise science textbook. It teaches you how to ask a direct question. They also call it a foreground question. So I posted a chapter in there, chapter 6, you can see it. And I also added chapter 14 again, because when you go in the case studies that you did in your evidence-based practice assignment, those case studies, they start with a specific question. And it's a very specific, defined question. They're looking at that thing. So what a lot of students do when they're doing their bibliography is it's either too broad, or they ask 5 questions, and it doesn't make sense. So it doesn't really help you to define, or do a bibliography on something that's not really specific. So that's the point of this. And the other point is to help each other. So I'm gonna ask you to, you can see the instructions in your post. State your direct, after you read chapter 6, look through that. You ask your question, give any background information. Hey, here's my interest. I really like endurance sports, or baseball, or team sports. I want to know what's the best thing for my athletes to supplement during a baseball game. Now that might include hydration. It might include snacks. What do people need to do during a baseball game? That's fine. So it can be a sports-specific question, football, baseball, basketball, and something specific in there. Recovery from football games. What do you need after a football game for recovery? It's a good question, and there's stuff out there, but kind of be specific. And then your classmates are going to reply and help you to get that more clear, and define that better. So you're going to work together, help each other to do that. And you're going to learn how to do that first before you help each other. And I'm going to talk about that in a second. But again, it can be sports specific. It can be like if you want to say endurance sports, that's kind of broad. You may want to make it more specific to running or cycling, rowing, triathlon, what have you. But be a little bit more specific. It can also be specific to a product. Let's say I want to do, there's a lot of stuff about creatine out there. And one of your case studies in the EVP assignment, you saw where creatine may not be the best thing for a cyclist that specializes in sprinting. Because one, you're sprinting after 5 or 6 hours of bicycling. So it's not like Usain Bolt sprinting 100 meters. That's all he's doing. Cyclists that got a lot of ride, they've got to ride a lot of miles before they get to the sprint. So the creatine really doesn't have a big effect. So that was kind of a question. You may want to go back because I kind of asked a question about there. So anyway, so it could be, and again, if you're asking about a specific supplement like H&B or creatine or what have you, chocolate milk, make it, what exactly are you looking for? Is it creatine for strength athletes, power athletes, endurance athletes? What exactly you're trying to find out? Well, that's a good question. And so chapter 6 helps you figure out how to ask a question. Well, that's the title of that chapter, is developing a question. So look through chapter 6. It's going to help you narrow that down. So I'm going to talk to you just a second here. But it mentions the components of a question. It's called the PICO framework. And if you move on in your education, you're going to hear that many times, the PICO framework. And it's 5 components of a question. So PICO is just an acronym. One is population. What's a population you're asking about? Again, I've talked about that. Football players, cyclists, endurance athletes, strength, rugby players. What do you ask them? Who's the population? Elderly, children, could be anything. Those are populations. Okay, so populations respond to different types of things, and so that helps clarify that. Okay, intervention. What type of evidence are you looking at? What's the intervention? And so moving too far from that intervention can lead to incorrect answers. So the intervention, what is it? Does this supplement help that? Or you may be asking what an intervention is. Comparison. So you're looking to compare a standard treatment or a gold standard or a control. What's these comparisons? And what's the outcome measure you're looking to? Does HMB help? It's a really bad question. HMB help who, what, where, how? So what type of outcome are you looking for? Another one you can add is a T at the end, which is time. And it could be something you want to throw in there also. Because if you're looking at something one-time shot or something you do over a continuous thing, but that's something you got to ask. So that chapter 6 explains the PICO framework. It just kind of walks through each of those things: population, intervention, comparison, outcome, and time. And it just kind of talks to you about each one. So I'm not going to go through each of those because it already does that job for you. That's why I've got it there for you. And pretty simple to look through. It's only like 10 pages, so it's not long at all. So let me jump back over to the case studies in chapter 14. So for instance, I'm looking at case study 3, protein intake for endurance athletes intake. Is protein intake above the recommendation for the general population necessary for young competitive male endurance athletes to maximize adaptations to high density endurance training? It's a really specific question, right? So if you're going to say, does creatine help baseball players, that's probably not specific enough. But you know what professional baseball players, youth baseball players, college age baseball players, Division II, Division III, who's the population? What exactly are they doing, like during a game, during practice? So again, I hope that gives you an idea how to be specific for that topic. But to go to your annotated bibliography, in your introduction, you're going to ask a question, just like you see in these evidence-based practice readings. That introduction where you're defining your question, your theme, you're going to have that sentence that says, I want to know, what does protein intake for endurance, like I just said. You're going to kind of define that question. And then you're going to go and look for articles, just like you see in chapter 14, where they went and find different articles and they did different search parameters. You kind of sound familiar, I hope. And you're going to find those 5 articles that you're going to use. And then, of course, you annotate 3, list all 5. But you got to have that question to direct the studies you look for. Otherwise, you're all over the board. You're going to get creatine for soccer players, creatine for cyclists, creatine for kids, and that doesn't really matter, as it's just all over it's just, you're throwing stuff against the wall and seeing what sticks. So you want to be specific. All right, I hope I've beaten this into the ground well enough. So one last thing, when you reply to your peers, be constructive. You want to help them tighten up that question. Don't be mean, but if somebody's way off, help them. Say, hey, think about this, try this. Maybe you should go this route, and if you really don't know, get as close as you can and then ask for help. Maybe your initial post is, hey, I'm really interested in this ray, and I'm kind of thinking of a question like this. And then as people reply, help each other, help each other. So for replies, you got a minimum of 4. This is a week 4 assignment, but I'm hoping you guys start early into week 3 and not wait till last minute to do this. Otherwise, you're not being helped, because I want you to be helped. But reply to the people in your group with a minimum of 4. So that means you've got at least 1 or 2 more to do outside of your group. So any 1 or 2 in the class, go find something that maybe you're also interested in. But again, the idea is to ask for help and give help. Help each other, just like you're in a discussion in the classroom. That's what this is for. All right, if you have questions, let me know as you work through this, and I hope you guys have fun. So this is really where the rubber kind of hits the road. when you get out there into the real world, people ask you, hey, do these magic copper infused socks work? You're gonna say, well, I really don't know, but let me go look up some literature. And you're gonna have a really good question. You'll know how to ask a question. Go search the literature and come back to your person. Hey, look, I found 4 or 5 articles, and these copper infused socks are crap. I don't care if Brent Farr is or whatever Farr, whoever this guy's name is, trying to sell them on TV. Don't buy them. Save your money. Buy a taco. I don't know. All right, guys. Enjoy this. Have a good time and help each other. Okay? Talk to you soon.